Happy Mercury Day, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Star Watch, which is a weekly astrological transit report for Wednesday, November 30th. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jane. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for being here with me this week. Now, if you want to quickly jump to the astrology reading, I'll put a timestamp down below, but I am going to do a quick follow-up to my personal message that I posted last week. So I am so grateful, overwhelmingly so, for what has happened this week. So I received literally hundreds of messages and emails and comments. Well, comments, yes, but a lot of emails. And please do not be offended if I have not responded. I think it was so much. And I genuinely want to read every word because I am so blessed that you took the time. Like I'm so honored that you were willing to take the time to sit down and write a note to me, not only with a lot of you said really nice things, but it wasn't only just that. It was like who you are and what you've been going through and what challenges you're facing and why you're watching tarot and astrology videos in general and what you get out of these types of things and how you apply. And some of you put incredible thought into your messages, and it just absolutely means the world to me. And because you made that investment, I want to invest properly and read every single word. It will take me time, but I will make a point to sit down and literally read everything, and respond appropriately as much as I possibly can to every single person. I only started responding just only to the comments that were posted underneath the video last night. I haven't responded to any emails yet, so please bear with me as I go through. Again, there were hundreds, so it might take me a few weeks to go through everything. But I mean, regardless, my eyes were so open. And I think where I was really struggling was, it just kind of felt like, and I know you're human beings, I know you're people on the other end of this. It's just being on the internet. Sometimes it doesn't really feel real. And I've done so many private readings, so I'm not saying that I was completely disconnected but it really humanized the experience so much more. And any care that I had about my numbers just flew right out the window. I was like, okay, I don't even care. If it's this 1,000 people that commented, this is my group, this is my family, this 1,000 people right here, this is what I'm doing it for. And I'm not going to cry today, I promise. I know Neptune's going direct, but I'm not going to cry, even though I may kind of want to. I'm feeling happier today. That new moon last week was kind of emotional for me. But I feel so overwhelmed. And I think, sometimes we have to go, and I say this to my clients all the time, sometimes we do have to experience the decrease, the decline. We have to experience the loss in order to wake us up. It's like someone snapping in our face, oh, okay, wake up, wake up, wake up, because it's time for a change. And now I think I miscommunicated this last week. I'm not quitting my channel. That's not an option for me at this point. It was the content. Sometimes I feel like the content gets really mechanical, and it gets really, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, and maybe that's just me. It doesn't, no one said anything like that. So I don't think that that's really the case. Maybe it really is just me, and I need to just kind of snap out of it a little bit and get out of my own world. And I don't know. So I'm not changing the monthly comprehensives. I'll keep doing the weeklies for now. I'll keep doing the weekly astrology for now. But I am going to start experimenting. And when I say experimenting, I mean doing really random stuff, okay? I've decided with so many of your messages, it's like everyone kind of wanted something different or was looking for something different. Some people liked it exactly the way it was. Other people like this over that and all sorts of things. So I think the best thing for me to do with my channel is just to play. It's time for me to play around. You guys, I have Jupiter in the 5th house, but it's retrograde. It's a Jupiter retrograde and it's in Aquarius. So it's actually not the most playful placement, actually. Jupiter energy has been very challenging for me to really grasp onto in my life. And I think now something has turned over and I'm like, I am ready to embrace this 5th house Jupiter in whatever way that it possibly can. And maybe just playing and doing my inner child thing is really what I need to do. And so maybe we'll do some lives and then maybe we'll do something else and maybe we'll do this other thing and maybe we'll do this other thing too. And we'll just kind of treat it as like a laboratory for now. And when I find something that I really like and that you also really like, and it works for all of us and it grows and whatever the case may be, then that's what it will be. And we'll work on settling that. And I'll do the same thing with my Soul Seekers group as well. We're just going to be putting stuff out there and seeing what you guys respond to and seeing what you guys like and seeing how things affect you. And we'll just be refining. And maybe that's what 2023 is going to be for me. And hopefully y'all can bear with me and just go on the ride with me and grow with me and evolve with me as well. I think the important thing to remember is that we're all just human beings out here doing our best. We're all just putting it out there. I had a conversation with someone a couple of months ago, and this may surprise you. It actually surprised me, if I'm being honest with you. Leo season of this year, Leo season, August 2022, was the first time that I actually felt like I knew what I was doing. And I know that may sound crazy, because I have been doing this since 2015. I think I started my channel in November of 2015 was the first time I posted. And I have felt time and time and time again, over and over and over and over, like I think the word is the imposter syndrome. I think that's really what the word is like, why is anybody listening to me? I'm just trying to do it too. And, I've just kind of felt also like I'm also going through the process and whatnot. And then for some reason this year, something hit me and it was like, okay, it's time. Like you've turned a corner, you've made it through, you've done the illness thing, you've done the dark night of the soul thing, you've done the toxic relationship thing, you've moved around the world and the travel and the entrepreneurship thing, and you've done all the things. And now it's time for you to really start pulling people up in a real conscious way. And maybe I think in a lot of my messages, I didn't realize that that's what I was doing the whole time. I know that sounds silly. And you're like, Jane, how could you be so stupid? Not stupid, like in a derogatory way, but you know what I mean? Like, how could you be so naive? I think I just was. Like, I don't really have a very good self-perception. I really don't. Like, I don't know how people see me a lot of the times. I think that's like childhood stuff. I just don't know how people see me. And I don't know the value. I think I have a really challenged second house. You guys, I've got Pluto, I've got South Node, I've got the moon conjunct Saturn in there. I have Venus square Saturn. So when it comes to self-perception, that's something that just seems very evasive to me. So I just didn't know. But I think something clicked for me not only last week, but also since Leo season, which is why I implemented my Soul Seekers group. And it's why I, am putting this message out there and why I'm deciding to really make these changes, because it just feels like this is my career. And I never thought of it that way before. I never thought of this as my business or as my job. I never thought of it that way. This was just my YouTube channel. That's it. I just took private clients. I was just a tarot card reader. I was just learning astrology. I was just. And something just, boom, flipped. And it's like, no, you're not just doing that. It's more than that. It's so much more. So I think if I start treating it that way now, it will become what it needs to become. Okay. So anyway, I'm not trying to get all like deep right now. I just really wanted to express the gratitude and the appreciation. I think mostly for your honesty, for your time, for your kindness, and just your patience with me patience with me and my growth spurts and my story and whatever the case may be. And if you can continue to be kind and patient while I experiment and play around with my channel, that would be great. But I'm really like, this is my group of people right here. And YouTube channel growth or not, I don't know that that really matters to me. It was just my trigger. The more I think about it, it was just what I needed to make the change. And if I can make the change and feel like something that's working and something is progressing, it will feel right, you know? Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and get into this reading for the week, the astrology for the week. And for those of you who are soul seekers, please be sure to log in because I'm also going to post that full moon in Gemini reading as well. All right, see you in just a sec. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the chart for the week. Now, we do have a really big transit going on December 3rd, which is Neptune right here is now going direct. And basically, as of right now, he's not even moving. He's stationing direct right now, coming into that degree where he'll eventually start moving forward. Now, because Neptune is so far away, this is a really slow thing, all right? And we can certainly feel that drag. Now, if you are feeling tired or emotional, or if there are some things really coming up for you right now, chances are this is the culprit, all right? Not to mention the fact that the moon is building up to her full moon, which we'll talk more about this next week because technically the 7th is Wednesday, so we'll do another reading next week. But the moon is going to be building up here to a full moon, which is conjunct Mars. So there is a triggery, kind of agitated or an irritable nature with the astrology right now. It's not a perfect environment, but it's also not bad. I think a lot of the triggers or the things that we're confronted with, or a lot of the things that maybe other people say, you know, especially too, because Mercury is coming into Capricorn this week as well, which is happening on December 6th. So next Tuesday, Mercury comes into Capricorn, and we know that Mercury in Capricorn is a really blunt and truthful placement. All right. Now, we could say that about Sagittarius as well. The problem or the difference, I think, between Sagittarius and Capricorn, Sagittarius just kind of says whatever. I'm not saying there's not truth there, but it also is very reactive because of the fire quality. It just, boom, it just comes out. But with Capricorn being Saturn ruled, it's a lot more calculating, and therefore it has that opportunity to cut to the bone. Now, some of my really good friends, and actually most of the men that I've seriously dated, like for more than a year, have been Capricorns. And they've all had Mercury in Capricorn as well. And one thing that I have really learned about that placement is that they're not just going to tell you unless you ask. But if you ask, you better expect the absolute truth, and you better expect them to hold you to that highest standard, because there is a quality of standards with Capricorn and Saturn. This is not like one of the fun signs. I mean, I'm not saying Capricorns can't have fun. You can certainly have fun, but there's like, with it being kind of the most outer-based planet in traditional astrology, right? It's the furthest one away. And so it does kind of have this like this depth to it. Has kind of the law and the boundary and the rules and all that kind of stuff is kind of thrown in there. And so there is a lot of judgment that comes through with Capricorn. I know we always throw that bone over to Virgo about how judgmental and critical they can be, but Capricorn can be that way as well, because it's desire to hold everybody up to the highest standard, because they do that for themselves, because they tend to work that hard. Now, this is not technically about Capricorns, has nothing to do about whether you have Capricorn in your chart. It's just that when Mercury comes in there, everyone is going to kind of have that quality. Everyone is going to, like, they may be more reserved with what they say, but man, when they say stuff, we better listen, because it's not just to hurt our feelings, it's to help us improve. And when we communicate, it's not just to hurt someone's feelings, it's to help them improve. It's to hold society as a whole up to a higher standard. And we do that more on a one-on-one basis, okay? And it is going to have a lot to do with like what we do in our what we do in terms of how we contribute things, okay? Because Capricorn is very much about taking, right? The motto for Capricorn is I use, right? So we take all the knowledge that we've acquired, houses 1 through 9, Aries through Sagittarius, all this information, all of this personal development, all of this self-analysis, we get to finally use what it is that we've learned in a more applicable and kind of a more materialistic way, right? This is when we apply in our careers, we apply it for our communities, we apply it for in any way that helps other people. Capricorn is a very other people oriented sign, okay? And so when Mercury comes in there, we're going to feel that shift. And it's going to be really helpful. It's going to be really helpful for everybody. This is not just me projecting from my other stuff. This is just kind of a global thing we're going through. So we have Neptune doing that, doing his thing. Also, these planets, Venus and Mercury, are also coming into square with Neptune during this Neptune direct transit. And this is also happening in a square with Mars. So we do have this like T-square. Now this is a weak square. It's not like a super strong, we can kind of see with the thin line here. This is at 18 degrees versus 22 degrees. Mars is going retrograde, so he's kind of separating, but still there is a square nonetheless. So Mars, Neptune, and Venus and Mercury kind of going through that. Now Mars is really offering some direction. Like if Mars wasn't involved, Neptune and Mercury and Venus could be a really confused transit, right? Where what it is we value with Venus and what it is we want to say and what we want to do and what's important to us. And all of a sudden we're like really questioning things with Neptune, and there's a lot of existentialism. But Mars isn't really letting us get into that existential place. He's being really, really supported by Saturn right now. And Saturn is absolutely keeping it real, all right? Mars is offering some direction. And so while there is this component of limitlessness with Neptune, our own personal limitlessness in terms of what we're capable of with our human potential and our physical bodies and what we're capable of doing in this world, and the limitlessness of opportunities that are available to us in the external world, Mars says, I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to like be overwhelmed by the limitlessness, because that can be an overwhelming notion. Like if you literally could do anything, it's like, well, what do I do? And then it's like there could be an information overload with Mars and Gemini collecting a little bit too much, where our nervous system sort of short circuits a little bit and we're like, okay, there's so much I can't really process, I can't really handle it. But he's like saying, I don't want to overwhelm myself. I just want to focus on like those few things that are actionable. He's all about taking action on something. It's like, if I cannot do something about this right now, then I'm not even going to think about it. Even though there's potential there, it's not realistic for me right now. And Saturn is all about the realism. It's not realistic. I don't want to dedicate time to it. I'm not going to invest into it. And when I say realistic, it doesn't mean that you have a pessimistic view. It doesn't mean that you're saying, oh, well, I could never earn that amount of money. No, with Jupiter in Pisces, like, please inflate your goals And I guarantee you, like let's use money because that's a simple example. So you are making this amount of money and you kind of realistically think you can get this much money, right? So here you are and you think, oh, well, I could probably get that much more. But Jupiter in Pisces is like, no, ask for this much more, triple it, double it at least, triple it, and in some cases 10x it, and really start being like, okay, because when you start looking out in the world, Neptune going direct, you start looking out in the world and you're going to start to see people who have that 10x amount. They actually do earn that. They actually do bring that amount of money in. So it is realistic. It may be lofty and it may seem hard, but it is realistic. If it's real for someone else, it absolutely can be real for you. So you seem to be making that transition, and Mars says, I want a hard battle. I want to fight for something. I want to go after something that matters to me, with Venus in opposition, right? Because she's all about value and what she values. And in Sagittarius, she wants to experience more, being Jupiter ruled. It's about more and having more and doing more, but not in an overwhelming sense. It's not about doing everything. Not with Mars. It's like, let's do the one thing that we know we can do. We can do it well. We can make it happen, and we can take ourselves further. Now, some people may feel really debilitated right now, okay? And one of the reasons for that may be that the chaos of, like, say, Leo and Virgo seasons, when we had all those retrogrades, we had tons of Mercury energy, and it was just all over the place, right? Leo and Virgo seasons were really crazy, and some people made really big changes. They got in new relationships, they changed jobs, they moved, they really shook up their whole lives. And one of the things that we need to remember is that if we take a still pool of water and we jump into that still pool and we create this big splash and the ripples and the waves, and it's going to be going like this for a really long time. And it's going to be a while before that water settles enough that we can see clearly. So because Sagittarius, the motto is I see, this is an opportunity. Like, this is a place where the water is starting to get to a place where you can see. So as much as I'm talking about doing all this action and whatever, that may not apply to everybody. Not everybody will be in that place where they're like, let's freaking go, and I know exactly what I want to do. That's maybe a little too generalized. But this is a chance for you to just surrender a little bit and have faith that that clarity will come. And that as your life familiarizes itself with the big changes that you made a few months ago, as those ripples start to settle, that clarity will come. So it is just a matter of time. It's a matter of shift. It's a matter of adjustment. Neptune slowing down is not really helping that much. Jupiter being in Pisces is also not helping that much. I think when Jupiter comes back into Aries at the end of December and starts moving very, very quickly, there is going to be more direction. We're going to feel more directed. Okay? But that's, again, some people may feel that direction now. Saturn is really offering so much assistance in all of this. This is the first time where I'm like, I'm so glad Saturn is where he is. I'm so glad he's positioned here. And I'm so glad Mars is doing this trine, because it's like, if Saturn wasn't there, the Mars or if it was a challenging aspect, like a square or an opposition, then the Mars in Gemini would still be all over the place. Saturn is offering some degree of stability and security with everything, telling you like you're safe. And with Saturn in Aquarius, now Aquarius is very much about going beyond the boundaries, about breaking the rules and pushing past that comfort zone and being really progressive in your life and going against the grain and doing things that are uncomfortable and not normal, quote unquote, right? There's a really unique aspect coming through. And, but he's saying you're safe in doing that. You know, you can do that. You can go past the boundary in a safe way if you're focused and you hold close to your heart the things that are truly important to you. So, and that's what you're doing, and you're safe. And we know, and I've been talking about this for months and months as well, we have the North Node conjunct Uranus. Now, this has been in play since the very end of July, beginning of August. So the whole of August, September, October, and November, and we are officially in the last month of this. Now, it's going to go into the middle of January, and then Uranus is going to go direct. So the South Node and Uranus are going to start to separate. So this has been what I've called a portal, or a period of time where we can like walk through this threshold of what has been known to us for quite some time and walk into something that is new. And because it is Taurus, this is likely some area that has been very well established in our lives. And suddenly now, all of a sudden, our destiny is carrying us away from what has been well established and into those unknown realms. Let's not forget the Uranian Aquarian connection. And with Saturn here, right, there's the determination and the deep concentration to go further. And this is not coming from a place of like any kind of desperation or anything. This is coming from a place of curiosity about what you yourself are capable of doing. And when Jupiter comes into Aries, there's going to be the belief that you can actually do it. The belief in the self with Jupiter in Aries. You know? So Mercury comes into Capricorn, Neptune goes direct. Now Venus is not far behind. We'll talk more about this next week, but she's coming into Capricorn on December 9th as well. So there's a lot of Capricorn activation coming up for us here in the next week and a half. And things are going to start getting real, and we're going to have to start putting our money where our mouth is. And we're going to have to start actually doing and using, remember the motto, I use for Capricorn, we have to start using the knowledge and the information and the experience for something that benefits the whole with Capricorn. Very society-oriented Capricorn and Aquarius, okay? The moon is going to be, I'll talk about this more next week, but the moon making her way into her full position will be conjunct Mars as well. So there is that fiery, emotional, getting triggered, things coming up. And Mars certainly has a severance quality where he can kind of cut things like a blade with a high degree of precision. And being in a Mercury-ruled sign like Gemini, yes, there is a precision aspect to it. And so the moon comes forward, and things that have been retained, because that moon is so retentive, right? It holds on to literally everything. It never, ever forgets. And when it comes in contact with Mars like this in the big full moon, there is a kind of an illumination on something that must be let go, on something that must be severed. So it could be something from your childhood. It could be a personal belief that you hold. It could be a limiting belief that you hold. It could be, anything like that clearly is holding you back, and that you clearly don't want to continue holding you back. Okay? Now this week, I am going to be posting in my Soul Seekers group the actual full moon video. So keep your eyes open for that if you're a member there. So that should be posted probably by the end of the day. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you all so much for everything, truly from the bottom of my heart. It genuinely means the world to me. And I will leave you with that. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.